It's a good time for the Kenyan child, and I hope that the officials will take up this opportunity to implement the laws, especially when it comes to disability children, disabled children. This new law provides good opportunities that can be used by children with disabilities, especially for free education, free medical covers. They're being provided for everything, and I think this is the time that we need to take up these opportunities and implement to ensure that all children are treated the same, and they have the opportunity to manifest their abilities and capability regardless of their disadvantages. Yes.
I think that's a good provision, especially when you're defining a child. Who's a child is anyone who is below the age of 18. It doesn't mean that the one who is disabled is now less of a child or anything. Yeah. So when the government comes in and now protects, or when these provisions come in and protects more or further this child who is disabled, I feel like it's a plus for everyone, for parents too, because then they're already dealing with enough. So at least the government is more like subsidizing the expenses and everything to just protect and provide for this child, which is a good plus on the app.
When we say that children with disability have access to medical healthcare education facilities, I'd like to encourage parents to also be registering their children with the persons living with disability, the institution. And from that, they even get concessions from the government, especially on tax rebate. So that is one of the things I know that we can actually even take further up, probably in our later discussions. But for now, we need to encourage parents to be taking their children, registering them, and also accessing the government facilities that are available for them. Yeah.
I think they're able to also get free like wheelchairs and hearing aids, things to help and make them cope.
Yes.
Okay, which is a good thing.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're out there and you know a parent that has a kid that with disability, kindly reach out to them, tell them about these services that the government is offering so that they're able to access them and the kid is able to benefit and be part of the society. Yeah.
Probably also my take home, let's not hide these kids. They also need to have a right to enjoy everything else that another child enjoys. There's a right, they have also the right to play, the right to associate with others, and also let's help even the other children who are defined as able to also know how to interact with them. Yeah, so as to avoid stigmatization and also discrimination.
Another major highlight of the Act, was it introduces the concept of diversion. So basically what happens in diversion, any child who is accused of a minor offense, instead of taking them through the normal legal juvenile justice system, is diverted to a more community-based program that is suitable to, depending on their circumstances. And the main objective of diversion is to remove child offenders at an early stage from the juvenile system so that they're not really impacted by the effects of criminal litigation. This means that such effects are like stigmatization, the cost of litigation sometimes can become a bit too much, and also a criminal record can really affect your future.
To avoid profiling, right?
Yes, profiling.
Yes. Okay. And I think on that part, I think I liked the way they say that mostly they are focusing on the best interest of the child. And this is a child that has not enjoyed life. And putting them into a criminal system is cutting them short from experiencing life. So I think it's a good opportunity that we look at other means. We offer the child more opportunities and help them not to become criminals in the future.
I feel like it helps us integrate with children and also just finding out why did this child commit what they committed. Like someone who steals food, a child stole, let's say, food or stole a phone so they can buy food. Why would you want to take this child through the whole entire criminal system when they have school, when they can you can actually provide food for them, which is like a right to them, instead of taking them through the whole procedure? It's stigmatizing and it's not worth it.
The law will also make sure that, okay, as much as this child is not going through the legal system, even if they're going back to school, they'll be supervised for a certain period of time, or they'll be committed to a remand home or something for a certain period of time. Or if it's, for example, if the child stole a phone or stole some money, how will the complainant be compensated without this particular child going through that legal system?
So I think it's more like a slap on your wrist, and besides that, also I feel like the child has to accept that they did a mistake.
Yes.
They have to be like, we will not. They have to like apologize,
yes,
and accept that they will not repeat the same mistake. But in the event that they repeat the same mistake, I think there's a process whereby the same offense can be brought back to court. And then they are now again charged afresh.
Yes, for sure. Yes. And also, if, for example, the child is a first-time offender, actually the law says if they are first or even second-time offender, depending on the child, then they can go through the process of diversion. But if it's a child who's constantly being charged with offenses, then
it cannot
work. Yeah.
And just to be clear, these are children above the age of 12 years.
Yes.
For me, my major highlight in this new act is on children who are intersex.
Yeah.
So an intersex child is defined to be, I want to make it so simple, a child who is born biologically per se not male or female. So this child has been recognized under this act, which is a good progress on my end. I remember this process started in court way back in 2010 about a prisoner who had both sexes. It was not Audrey, it was a guy called, let me just use the initial name, EW.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So this person was convicted and had been, when he went to be committed, now at the prison, he was taken in a male prison. But we all need to keep in mind that this is a person who has grown up with both sexes. So an intersex child has been well recognized. What does that mean? Before the act, this child could not have a birth certificate. Admission in a school was quite difficult. Once they're done with the basic primary education, it also begs the question as to what if they are called in a girls' school? What does that child have to go through in that girls' school? If it's a boys' school, what do they have to go through? You see, now it made it difficult even for them to interact. When they got to 18 years, getting an ID, it's a problem. The other thing also, most parents, to avoid this kind of discrimination, would require or would probably on their own also not giving this child a lot of information for them to decide, yes, this is what I want, or this is. So they subject this child to a surgical process towards another, one sex as opposed to another. And yet they've not biologically sat down with an expert to say that these probably genes lean towards being a boy, the following genes lean towards being a girl. So most parents would opt to do a surgical process. Depending on, if I have many girls and I want a boy, I'll subject this child now to be a boy. And the same would also apply to the other child. So the Children's Act has really evolved and has brought into being these children. So an intersex child can actually get a birth certificate right now. They can, when it comes to detention in a facility, there has to be a separate facility. If it's a child for intersex,
children.
yes.
Okay.
If it's a child in need of care and protection, we need the child protection unit. There needs to be a place or a facility, a separate one. apart from the
What
male
about
female.
schools?
Actually, I wanted to ask that for the recognition of the intersex children, does it mean we'll have like maybe like the way we have boys' school, girls' school, so
Or
we'll have,
toilet.
like,
No, we can't have that kind of because remember we also need to integrate all of us in the society. So I think with time, the Children's Act also envisages that these parents would one day sit down with a medical expert. So the medical expert is the one to determine or to sit down and say, this is what I think and this is the corrective surgery I think we should take.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you, because when I'm thinking about it, what if this child, let's say, they have reached a certain age and they're like, I'm more of a lady than a man, and they want to interact now with the female gender. What happens in that scenario? Will they be subjected to continue staying with the intersex group, or will they move to the female?
Let me just try and answer that. I think the Act also is big on child participation. So where a child is supposed to be heard and the abuse should be put into determination. Not, of course, everything, but if at all, like Zafida is saying, if they go to a specialist and be like, the genes are more or the hormones are more towards the female, vis-a-vis what you're saying, see, to be possible. So what is best interest of this child at this particular point? What the specialist is saying or what the child is saying?
Don't you think it brings at the issue of discrimination? Because I feel like if I want to become a girl and you're forcing me to be a man, and you're also forcing me to go to this other section of being the intersex, meaning I cannot voice out my concerns. I'm limited to this law whereby I'm put to the intersex group. I can't move to the female, I can't move to the male. Is it not restricting the choices of this child?
You've been given more options. Because right now you have two.
choice.
Because right now you only have two. Either you're a girl or you're a boy.
It's just like they're being given like they're being treated equally like any other child.
Any other child.
Yeah.
But then the
As opposed
intersex.
to-
Yeah. For the no, let's say for the prison, the way she has put it, not the prison, the remand houses. You see, you don't want to be put in a boys sector, and then we get to get cases like defilement, and then you also don't want to be put on this other side, and then you get more charges where you defile a girl in case your boy genes are higher. So it's more like either preventing more cases or just preventing you from getting into more trouble.
Or even being subjected to more discrimination in those facilities. Yeah.
But in your private adventures, you can be wherever you want to be.
It just gives you like a freedom to be who you want to be.
But
Basically, I think you need to be given information about your condition, and at the end of the day, make your informed choice.
I just have one more question. You said they're able now to get birth certificates and identification cards.
Yeah.
So are they indicated as, instead of female, male, is it indicated
Yes.
as, what if this status changes after surgery? What happens?
You just need to go back and tell your the government records. You just need to have it come out and say, this is what has happened to me. I've undergone the process. I identify myself
As female or male?
Yes.
Okay.
If I may ask, do you think our society right now is ready for this?
You see, it's not about readiness by the society. And let's not group an intersex person with the LGBTQI community.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because I think the LGBTQI is what you identify with from what you want to be identified with. This one is a biological condition.
Occurrence, yeah.
It's like if I'm born without a hand, that is me. As opposed to I choose to have a hand or not to have a hand.
Or have a third hand.
Yes.
For me, I think we need more education and awareness, especially for now the whole society, so that we are able to be aware of this condition, and so that we do not subject our children to doing things like this surgery without them knowing. Or so let us continue informing every person about this.
For sure. Yeah.